Spotlight. I have with me first gen entrepreneur Lauren Lefkowitz. How are you today, Lauren?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. I'm excited to dig in a little bit further about what you do. I know that your tagline, your slogan, if you will, your thing is "Fine is a trap," and I think that that's a good one because it's just enough. It's like, okay, what's she getting at there? So we're gonna dig into that a little bit. If you've watched these before, you know the format, but I'm going to ask you, Lauren, to give us your best elevator pitch. So just imagine we met for the first time. You have 60 seconds to answer me when I say, "Hey, Lauren, nice to meet you. What do you do?" What would you say?
I am an executive coach and I work with professionals who are stuck in the trap of being fine. We go to work, and whether we're working for ourselves, whether we are working for a giant company or a small company, we tend to get into this cycle of working and sleeping and working again. And we keep saying it's fine, even though it's not fine. And we settle for lower and lower and lower levels of fine until all of a sudden it's so not fine that when we say we're fine, we're cringing at it. So I work with people who are workaholics, people pleasers, perfectionists, bad at boundary setting, and they have this little inkling that they believe it can be different, but they don't quite know how. So I work with people to figure out who they are, how they want things to be, and what they want to be when they grow up.
I like it. Very good. I think you got it in about 50 seconds. So well done.
Thank you.
The elevator just dinged and the door's open. And now I'm going, am I a people pleaser? Am I a perfectionist? Is everything fine? Is it really fine? So that's good. That's enough to pique my interest, which is great. All right, cool. So I think that's you've obviously worked at that, and now we have a little bit better idea what you do. But let's get to know you and some of your advice a little bit deeper. We'll peel back the onion a little bit. So
Sure.
I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and you have 3 minutes apiece, and we're just going to pick this apart a little bit and see what we can glean from it. You ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. So your tagline, as we mentioned, "Fine is a trap." How did you arrive at that in the first place?
When I first launched my business, my tagline was actually "Relaunch your career." Okay. As I worked with people, I realized it was more than just about relaunching your career. And I had to think really deeply about who I was working with and what their challenge was. And I recognized that at the beginning of every strategy call, the people I was talking to were telling me how old they were, why they thought that age was too late for whatever they wanted to think about doing differently. And then they started justifying what was fine. It's fine if I have to take a pay cut. It's fine if I'm not going to make money as an entrepreneur for a few years. It's fine if. Or they would say, I don't really like my job, but it's fine because I like the company. And I noticed the word fine just popping in over and over and over. And you've seen that dog, that meme of the dog on fire, right? Who's saying,
I was going to bring it up. If you didn't, I was going to. So great minds.
Yeah, exactly. And what I see in that dog's face, in that cartoon dog, is this numbed out, dead inside expression. And that's what happens to us. Our threshold for fine gets lower and lower and lower. We say it's fine that they gave me a stretch project at work. We say it's fine that as an entrepreneur, I'm not sure how to handle marketing. We say it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And every time we say that, our threshold gets lower. So 2-3 years into our entrepreneurial journeys, or 10 or 15 or 20 years into our corporate careers, we hit this wall where we can't believe the things we're accepting that weren't fine before, that aren't fine. But we've justified them as fine because it's what we know. It's how we know how to do things. And if we actually admit it's not fine, we don't know how to fix it. So we have to be fine.
So you just keep double down on it kind of thing.
Yeah. So it becomes this trap that we live in where everything's got to be fine. This is just how things are. This is how they've become. And I see this the most often in really smart, high achieving people. because we are the best at problem solving. We are so good at helping other people solve their issues, fix their problems, do what they want to do, be successful, that we think if we can't fix ourselves, we must not be able to be fixed.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's really interesting, and there's a name for that effect where, like, if you go buy a red Jeep or something, you're going to see red Jeeps everywhere you turn.
Oh yeah, law of attraction. Yep.
Oh, okay, there you go. You're smarter than I am. So that's what that makes me think of is, you think that word fine, you keep hearing that over and over again, but then once you're tuned into it and the overall attitude that you're talking about, it's like, oh my goodness, yeah, that's everywhere. So that actually leads nicely into our second question then. So how do we end up here? I mean, how do you wind up being that dog inside a room that's on fire,
Right.
with your cup in hand and just going, everything's fine. This is fine. How does that happen?
Yeah. So it's in part that sort of diminishing threshold of our resistance to fine. Mm-hmm. If you started your entrepreneurial path and that very first year you were getting mentally beaten up, you weren't making any money, everything cost you money, and you didn't know that was going to happen, and you didn't plan for that, you would get out. You would, no way, I'm not tolerating that. Mm-hmm. If you planned for it, or if you knew how to make money, or if you knew how to make money to lead you towards making more money,
right,
you're going to be okay. And if it doesn't work out exactly as you planned, it's fine. If it doesn't work out, to make as much money as you wanted to make that first year, it's fine. As long as there's an upward mobility and there's a future you can see, it can be great, then you're great. But it's like getting in line at an amusement park. You get halfway through the line, right? You get halfway through your career. You get 2 years into your entrepreneurial path, and it's not going the way you wanted to, but it's been enough to like breadcrumb you along. I'm mixing metaphors here. It's been enough to breadcrumb you along. And so you don't imagine that you should step out of it. And then you develop this numbing behavior. Well, if I'm not going to enjoy this, I'll just do it. We'll just keep doing it. And because so many of us who go the entrepreneurial route are really high achievers, we will like dig our heels in and say, like, I have to make this work. I'm going to make this work. And we do that in corporate careers as well. I have to make this work. They made me a VP. Of course, I have these responsibilities. Right. And it's this gradual increase of more and more things that are fine, that you just don't want, that gets us into this world of fine.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what I'm hearing is it's a gradual thing. It's not just this overnight problem that you're faced with. And so then as it builds up over time and you start feeling it emotionally, subconsciously, but you can't quite pin it what it is. And that's what it is this has been stacking on you for some time now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we see that in work, in relationships, in our relationships with ourselves. If something drastic happened, right? Let's say you go to work in a corporate environment and the very first day on the job, somebody punches you in the mouth. Well, you're going to leave. But if you get there and they're glad you're there and everybody on the team is nice, and a month in the manager loses their temper, you're going to put that as a one-off. And it's fine that once in a while the manager loses their temper. It's fine that once in a while, as an entrepreneur, one of my customers just defaults and doesn't pay. It's fine, right? It's the once in a while kinds of things that then pile up that you're not going to run out. And then you get punched in the face and you're like, well, that's just how it is here.
Right. It's like a boil the frog kind of thing.
Totally a boil the frog thing. Yeah. And if people listening don't know that metaphor, they say if you throw a frog into a boiling pot of water, it will leap out because it has been shocked by the heat. If you throw a frog into tepid water and you heat the water up, it will just die peacefully in place.
Right. And it's sitting there going, this is fine. This is
right.
Fine. It's a little warm in here, but it's
getting
fine.
Warm.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's go into our third and final question then. And I'm looking forward to this one because I think that we're going to come away with some actionable things here. So what are your 3 best tips then if someone's been listening to this for the last few minutes and they're going, oh my goodness, that's me. I'm in this trap of saying things are fine. Well, then what tips do you have to offer for someone who's in that position?
So the first thing I'm going to say is going to make you roll your eyes.
Okay.
Because it's so simple. And it's the 3 steps are notice, decide, do.
Okay.
Which is like, okay, Lauren, that's cool. Thanks for the advice. It's not that fast, right? And it's not that easy.
Right.
But sometimes we dive into a change because we're burnt out. We're running away from something. We're so done with something.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't even really evaluated what's going wrong. So we haven't really noticed what bothers us. We just don't want to be here, so we go there. So the first step is really to notice. There are different ways to do that. You can talk to somebody about it. You can do an energy audit where you track your day and see what, every half hour, every hour, you can see what you've spent your time, your energy on, and to figure out what doesn't work for you. There are all kinds of ways to notice, but you do have to notice. You can't just say, I'm out.
Right.
Then decide, do you want to do something about it, or is fine really fine? Right? I don't love the loaves of bread I get at the grocery store, but they're fine enough that I'm not going to a bakery to get bread.
Right. Like, does the pain from this reach that tipping point where it's now worth taking action, kind of?
Exactly. Yeah. And so you get to decide, do you want to change it? And what do you know in order to change it? Is it getting back into a set of habits? Is it developing new habits you can get from a book? Or is it bigger than that, where you need a community or a coach or a accountability partner, a class, a certification? What is it that you want to decide to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then do.
Right.
And so the doing comes with deciding what you don't know and where you need support. And the doing, a lot of the times we try to do ourselves. And like I said earlier, because we're high achievers, because we're good at what we do, we are smart people, we imagine that if we can't figure it out, it must not be figure outable.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first coach I hired for myself outsmarted me in one sentence. I told her what I couldn't do, and she said, if you say so.
Right.
And I was like, oh, she's right. I say that all the time to my clients.
Right.
And I hired her because she out-clevered me at my own talking myself out of everything that was wrong with my career and my life. And so deciding to invest in resources, whether it's investment of your time, investment of your energy, investment of your money, deciding to invest in resources like our community, First Gen, like other networking communities, networking calls, a coach, a mentor, a accountability group, all of those kinds of things can be really helpful and really life-changing. I would not be in this seat right now in an entrepreneurial world if I hadn't hired coaches to help me figure out how to get out of my own way.
Right. Well, and that just fits in so perfectly with kind of your platform here, is that if someone first notices that, hey, I'm not fine actually, and starts to observe it, but the very fact that you're in that position in the first place means that you're that frog who's kind of getting boiled here, and you didn't realize it. And so sometimes you need someone who's that third party perspective that can help challenge you and question you and hold you accountable and pull you out of that trap, so to speak.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to chat with me. And hopefully for any watching, this is pretty helpful in getting to know Lauren a little bit better, not just as a person, but also what you do, how you help people. Real quick, I think we spoke generally, but do you have a particular niche or audience that you're looking to serve?
Yeah. So I work with executives and entrepreneurs and people who should be executives but haven't gotten there yet because it's been fine.
Yeah.
And I help them get out of this trap. I help high achieving workaholics, procrastinators, perfectionists, people pleasers really figure out who they want to be when they grow up and how to get there.
Nice. Awesome. Sorry for the curveball there at the end, but I just kind of want to make sure that we
Easy
communicated
peasy.
that. All right. Good deal. If you want to
Yes.
get in touch with Lauren, you can obviously do that right here inside the community. Just send her a DM. But you can also reach out to her on LinkedIn. I'll include a profile link down below. And again, Lauren, thanks so much for being a part of this community and taking a few minutes to chat with me today.
Thank you so much.
All right. Talk soon.
Thanks.